Hello and welcome to Ebbie on Senior Living. I'm your host, Charles Ebbie Alfree. Today I'm joined by Catherine Friedman, the Executive Director for Uptown Knauer Performing Arts Center. Catherine and I will discuss the positive impact arts has on seniors. Thank you so much for being here, Catherine. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me, Ebbie.
Again, as most of my shows, people don't know it, but my guests are usually my friends, and you and I have been friends for a few years now, and fellow Rotarians.
Absolutely.
So it's really great to have you here. So why don't we start off by telling us a little bit about you and Uptown.
Oh, well, thank you, and I'm excited to be here to talk about Uptown. As we were just talking, Uptown 10 years ago was just a dream for some community members in Westchester. And they had the opportunity to purchase the Armory in Westchester and secure the funds and renovate it and turn it into a state-of-the-art performing arts center. We just finished our third year with a really dynamic program, Broadway shows, speaker series, jazz, improv. And our goal is to be a really cultural hub for Westchester, for Chester County, and to offer something for everyone, which is why we have from the beginning sought diverse programming.
And you have so many great shows and productions that come through, and you have some companies that have found their home there. Can you tell us a little bit about those companies?
Yeah, well, I want to give full credit to the founding executive director, Angela Scully. A lot of work obviously went into renovating the building and really getting it to be the center that it is. And her thinking was, how do we have programming once we cut the ribbon and we're ready to go? And so she worked to find local arts groups that had a following but not a home, and offered Uptown as their home. So from the beginning, day one, January 2017, we've had programming with our Uptown Speaker Series. We have an improv troupe, Better Than Bacon, that is once every other month. Working with a local music producer, Windish Music and Productions, brings in dueling pianos monthly, as well as band programming throughout the year. We have an Elton John tribute that should be a lot of fun coming up. A colleague of mine, Heidi Starr, was brought in to create an opera cabaret, so we founded Opera Tutti. That was my entree to the theater as an opera singer. And from there, we have just grown doing rentals, certainly producers bringing in acts. We were very excited to have famous musician Dave Mason this past summer, which was just a thrilling opportunity at Uptown to get a name like that on our stage. I mean, at the same time, this past year, we have been working at booking our own acts, which just takes it to a whole other level. One of our founding resident companies, Resident Theater Company, has really been the jewel in our crown. It produces 3 Broadway quality plays or musicals a year. This year's schedule included Cabaret, Into the Woods, and coming up this spring, a really funny comic play, Vanya and Sonia and Masha and Spike, which is this interpretation of the Chekhov characters if they lived in Bucks County today. Christopher Durang, Tony Award-winning show. So we're really lucky to have just the highest quality of artists and performers coming in and bringing live performing arts to the heart of downtown Westchester.
And it's fantastic. I mean, I've been to some performances there, and all of them have just been amazing. And the Resident Theater Company, they really do put on top-notch productions.
Yeah.
I mean, very good. And I'm looking forward to this Christopher Durang piece. I love that. I've seen it before, and it is hysterical. It's so
It's
funny.
going to be a
so
lot of
good.
fun. Yeah.
So talking about the audience that comes, you do have a lot of seniors who come to see your performances. Can you talk a little bit about your audiences and the senior population that comes?
Sure. And we do have a lot of seniors and welcome a lot of seniors to the theater. in terms of one of the first issues, calls we get is often about accessibility, and the building was not originally accessible. It was built for soldiers, but the building is fully accessible. We have a lift into the building, as well as a traditional elevator throughout the building. So there's no part of the building that is not accessible to anyone, senior or younger, living with accessibility needs. We work to make sure that our programming really reflects our community, and reflects our audience and patron base. Right now, that is a lot of seniors. We have bus groups coming in from Whitehorse Village, Bellingham, all of the local senior communities, and we enjoy welcoming them to the theater, and knowing that we give them a really great experience. And the feedback that we get from the seniors is always really heartfelt and thrilling. When we have a show that they remember from their youth or from raising their family, they really share those memories with us, and it's awesome. This last December, we showed our opera troupe put on A Mall in the Night Visitors, and such a fascinating opera, because it was the first opera commissioned for television, and back in the day it aired annually on NBC. NBC commissioned it, and we just got the most amazing response in person and on the phone from people who remembered watching it every Christmas, and were thrilled to be able to now share it with their grandchildren and their family members, this memory that they could never quite describe.
Sure.
And so we do just love that.
Oh, and that's so great, because the arts, and doing research and working in the senior sector, doing research on the arts and the impact that the arts have on seniors, you realize, there are seniors who deal with depression and isolation because of the loss of a partner and loved ones, and having the opportunity to come to a performing arts center like yours, and to visit museums and different, arts organizations, they have the opportunity to maybe reflect on times that they spent with that person, share those moments with their grandchildren and others, and to think back on good times that they've had.
Exactly. I think we've seen, certainly in programming that's happening in senior facilities with music therapies and art therapies, the impact that the arts has on, honestly, there's therapies from infant on in the arts because of the impact that the arts has on brain functioning, brain development. And then as you start to deal with other issues with, say, memory loss or dementia, it can be a great connector to bring people back,
Exactly.
reconnect them to something. The arts does that for people, and we definitely see that at the theater. And our goal is to make sure that the arts is available to everyone in the community, and affordable is the key.
Sure.
So, once you're retired and living on a fixed income, there's a lot of people at every level of that, and it can seem daunting. We got a thank you note this past Thanksgiving from a group of ladies who live in a facility, a senior living facility in Westchester. And one of them in her note commented that she had so missed coming to the arts as she aged. And then Westchester happened, and our community ticket program happened. And now she's able to come back to the arts, and she and her friends come to almost everything we offer, and they're able to walk over from their, it's just perfect in every way, and it's really brought arts in a real way back to their lives, and that has a huge impact.
It does. It definitely does.
I was just going to say, I was reading an article this morning too, that sort of the side benefits is being surrounded by people. So just the audience experience, especially when you talk about the isolation and loneliness, it almost doesn't matter what's happening on the stage. Just being in a room full of people, having a shared experience. There's a lot of research on what the beneficial impacts to brain serotonin release and different hormones and positive reinforcement. So we know we're definitely offering a huge benefit superficially just in the performances, they're top quality, but going a lot deeper for the people in our community.
Definitely.
One of the ways that we've taken it to another level as well is our drama school. So we do have a drama school, Westchester Studio at Uptown, that offers classes really preschool through adult. My husband and I took the adult improv class this last fall together, and boy, that's a lot of fun. And it's never too late to start building on those skills. You'll find out you use them in everyday life.
Sure. And there have been some studies done that show that the aging brain is still a creative brain.
Absolutely.
That is still definitely, people can still be creative and want to get involved with the arts. You know, my father, it's so interesting. He had never done anything in the arts, and he retired from work, and in his probably mid-60s, started taking art classes. And he did watercolor, carvings, he took harmonica. It was amazing. He was just like loving trying all these new things.
Well, it makes you think in his working life there probably wasn't room to even talk about those interests. So they just lived in the back of his mind, and suddenly he was free to explore. That's that's awesome.
And he met new people who also shared some of the same interests. And as you were saying, being part of the audience, because some older people and seniors, they live alone, they don't have anybody. If they come to a theater performance, there's other people there. They can interact with those people, even discuss the show during the intermission after the performance. You know, it gives them the opportunity to, you know, meet some other people and just have that interaction, which is so important.
It really is. You know, I spoke with a woman recently, and we ended up having a great conversation on the phone. She's coming to, we're showing Oscar shorts, so the short films that have been nominated for the upcoming Oscars. And she was not going to come because she couldn't find someone to come with, and she thought, oh, should I come by myself? And that's not really done. She said, and then I just decided, if I don't go, I'll miss it.
Yeah.
And so we talked about that, and I said, you're going to be surrounded by people who have your same interests. So absolutely, we see those conversations and connections happening in the audience all the time.
Oh, that's fantastic.
My mother-in-law she's a huge movie buff, and has made lifelong friends that she now travels with from these movie clubs and movie festivals, film festivals that she has gone to, just because they were seated next to her. Right. And, you know, those are really great connections, because then you know it's someone who really shares your interest.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, that's so cool. I love when people connect and find common interest and develop relationships and friendships, especially as they're getting older.
Yeah,
You know, it's so important to maintain that. So besides having the seniors come to Uptown, you also have many seniors who volunteer there.
Volunteers are the lifeblood of Uptown. We are a small but mighty staff of about 5 people who put on over 150 shows a year. Our volunteer corps is easily 300 to 400 strong, and what volunteers do for us is ushering. And one of the benefits of ushering is you get to see the show you're ushering for. So once we get everybody safely seated, the ushers are invited to watch the performance. But we also have volunteers who help us in the office, who help with the drama school. With the seniors that we have, we've had several that have lent their sewing talents, which is huge because it's kind of a skill that's falling by the wayside, especially for the drama school and their plays. There's really almost no way we can't welcome people in to volunteer with us at Uptown. It makes such a huge difference. Last year it was about 11,000 hours of volunteer service. As a nonprofit, we could never, you know, afford that.
Sure.
And then, of course, you get an amazing work ethic, you get great wisdom and insight. They're constantly solving problems for us that, you know, in the moment we just don't have a solution for. So they are an amazing group of people, and they've become, it's again with those relationships, some beautiful relationships have formed within our volunteer corps, such that they're making relationships outside of coming to volunteer, and they'll sign up for shows together just so that they'll see each other and go to lunch after. And so that's really
great.
exciting. Yeah,
Oh, that's
we
so
couldn't do
great.
it, and we're always welcoming and training new volunteers.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, and with your volunteers being there and the volunteers who are seniors, do they have any interaction with the youth, the young people who are in the classes?
Absolutely. One of the neat things about our drama program and about the theater is that the classes are happening all day, almost every day, while programs are going on, while resident theater company is in rehearsing. It's kind of the coolest experience for especially the young people who are in the career-bound drama classes, to get to really see live artists working right beside them, getting ready for shows, practicing their lines, you know, in a corner.
Sure.
It's a great experience, and that is there for all of our volunteers as they're there too. You're watching. That's kind of the neat thing about the building is you're not just as an usher or as a volunteer, you're not just up in the lobby. You're accessing the entire building. So you're in the green room, you're backstage.
Sure.
You're really watching the entire process front to back and everything in between, and engaging with it.
And I love that because that gives seniors the opportunity to engage with the young people as well as performers and hear about the process of putting on a performance and preparing for a performance, which I think they would find interesting to learn about.
Well, I think they do, and we find them coming and supporting the youth plays. So all the drama classes will end in usually a pretty big production. This last year we did a High School Musical, Junie B. Jones, I mean real full productions. And you know, we see the volunteers, the ushers coming not only to volunteer for the show, but then bringing their grandkids back for other productions. The value of watching young people perform is suddenly you can picture yourself doing it. And so we definitely see that wanting to share that experience with, again, their family members at different ages. It's a huge impact.
And you even have seniors who are performing at Uptown.
Yeah, which is really exciting. You know, with this last production, Into the Woods, with Resident Theater Company, what was so neat about it is so often when we think about Broadway stars, we think of them being young and svelte and, you know, they're just these amazing singer-dancer actors, and they are. But this show used a lot of older talent because they were real characters. You know, it was Jack and the Beanstalk's mother would not have read well from our stage if she had been 22, and there was just great talent out there. So I just loved the fact that so many people, everyone who came to see that show, and it's a long run, so a lot of people saw it, got to see, oh yeah, people are still acting, performing, making a living in the arts all the way through retirement and sometimes beyond.
Oh yeah, and if you look at, you know, some of the Broadway performers, I mean, B. Arthur and Elaine Stritch, they were still performing on stage up until their 80s.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I mean, Angela Lansbury, I think I read that she was just doing a reading of a play, and I think she turned 94 recently. So it really shows age doesn't matter. The brain is a creative organ, and, you know, you can continue to use that muscle to perform and create.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think is so exciting. And I think that's also something great for young people to see, that, you know, life doesn't stop. You can continue performing or whatever it is that you're interested in. Just because you're aging, it doesn't mean you have to stop.
Right. Well, there's some activities you kind of can't do. You do age out of.
Yeah, sure.
Ballet dancing, I think, is possibly one of them. But acting, singing, those are all things that actually are good for you and good for you to keep doing. Instrument playing, you know, you can always be a part of a community group, a community chorus, a community band. And you want to find those opportunities, you know, where you live so that you're you're just constantly feeding your soul and your brain at the same time.
Exactly, exactly. It's so important. And so, not just Uptown, but theaters across the country, do you think seniors make up most of their audience? Is that
Seniors
what?
do. There is an element of the people with the time and the money,
Mm,
but mostly the time.
mm-hmm.
I know that, you know, as my kids have gotten older and into college, it has certainly freed my husband and I up to do and go and be more places.
Sure.
And so we're definitely availing ourselves of the arts in a way that we didn't when we were in the hot and heavy elementary school, middle school,
Yeah, that
soccer
busy
mom
time.
life.
Mm-hmm.
So we do see a large senior audience. Pennsylvania is, of course, a state for seniors for retirement. It's got really great
Sure.
just laws and policies around that. So we do have a growing senior population for
Mm-hmm.
Pennsylvania, people choosing to retire here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so the beauty of that is that they're there as an available resource to the community. As I
Yeah.
say, not only do they have the time to come to shows, they have the time to volunteer, they have the time to
Mm-hmm.
usher, they have the time for volunteerism in other ways. We have a board of directors,
Mm.
so it's an opportunity to bring, you know, the know-how and knowledge of these, you
Sure.
know, people who've lived full lives, have great experiences, and lend that knowledge to the growth and development of the theater.
Sure. I mean, they had a lifespan of a professional career that now they can share with a nonprofit organization.
Yeah.
All that knowledge they have and, you know, skills and talents that they can share, which, you know, is so important. And, you know, working at the Hickman, we have a lot of performing groups that come through. And I see our residents, they just get so excited and they just enjoy it and they sing along and, you know, they talk about those memories. As you were saying
Yeah.
before, there's a group that does theater performances, but they're kind of scaled down. It's not a full, you know, show, but they sing certain songs and do like certain scenes from productions. And it just brings back all these great memories. And even for me, when I'm watching, it makes me think about when I was younger and seeing these shows with my parents. I mean, that's the great thing about theater. It's such a part of all of us, I think, that it gives us opportunity to, you know, reflect on the past, remember very good times, and be a part of something that's alive. It's a living, breathing thing.
You know, you've hit on a really good mark there. We hear from our patrons all the time that more and more people don't want things for
Mm,
gifts. They
mm-hmm.
want experiences.
Sure.
And so when Into the Woods was showing over the holiday season, we had a lot of people come in and say, this is our holiday present to the family. They're all coming in from out of town. We're going to go to a play and build an
Mm,
experience. And, you know, we hear so much about electronic usage
mm-hmm.
in this day and age, and everybody's on their phone. One of the cool things is we never have phone issues in the theater. People
Sure.
are really there, phones are away, they're engaging
That's
with the
fantastic.
action on the stage and really thrilling in it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's so important to
It
have
is.
that. I mean, I don't know. When I go to the theater, to me, it's just this, it's almost like a religious experience. And you get so much from the performance and the energy. And, you know, and when you're leaving the theater and the conversations it sparks, as I was saying earlier, that, you know, for some people who don't have anybody at home, it's a great opportunity to meet people and interact with them. And even for myself and my friends, it generates these great conversations based on what we just saw at the
Yeah.
theater. And I get that from Uptown. 'Cause I've seen so many great productions there.
It's really a neat place. I think one of the things that when they built the theater that enhances that community feeling is it's a bar, but the bar
Mm-hmm.
experience. There really is a meeting place outside of the theater where people stand in line together at intermissions. They're definitely talking about what they've just seen. People are coming in early to meet. And it's created this other social life that just coordinates beautifully with the
Sure.
theater experience.
Sure. Now, one thing I do want to mention is that you, in addition to being the executive director, you're also an amazing performer and opera singer yourself. Can you tell us a little bit about your opera career? And
Sure, sure. So yeah, I'm a professionally trained opera singer. Found myself living in Pennsylvania, and that's what led to my nonprofit career. The beauty of which is I've been able to blend the two, to keep performing and keep my skills up, my chops up, as they say. Heidi Starr, who brought the Opera Tutti program to Uptown, she and I met because we studied with the same teacher. And Opera Tutti has just been a thrilling way to be able to have opera actually in my own town. Before becoming the director at Uptown, I worked literally just down the alley, and so I would get off of work and come down for a performance, and it was like, wow, who gets this? Who gets to walk out of work and walk into a theater and do a show? That was really awesome. And so we've enjoyed bringing that. It started as an opera cabaret. We were performing monthly and doing arias and really engaging with the audience. We hear so much from opera that people think that it's scary or foreign or they're not going to understand it. And so our goal was always to make it approachable, to tell you the funny story that's really behind what you're hearing. And when possible, to break into the audience and have them be almost a part of the experience. So we have an opera coming up. It's so fun. February 9th. It's called The True Story of Cinderella. And actually, it relates back to my education. I got my master's at Westminster Choir College, which will probably mean something to quite a few of your watchers, just because it was a major trainer of church musicians. So I know, and because we're so close to Westminster, there's so many church musicians from Westminster in this area. Something that was performed every year at convocation by the faculty was The True Story of Cinderella, which is a fractured fairy tale written by a professor at the university. So a number of us in the area, our opera singers, are from Westminster and really work to bring this to the stage here in Westchester because we love it so much. But it is just a fun, farcical romp of Cinderella. On February 9th, it's a matinee show, and it's a really good time.
Oh,
everybody gets a date in the end, so that's really that's the key.
And opportunity is so much fun. My friends and I have gone, and we just had such a great time.
Oh, good.
So much fun. Well, it's hard to believe, but our time is almost up. But I do want to let you let the audience know how to contact you, how to get more information about Uptown. So if you want to let them know.
Well, absolutely. We look forward to seeing you at Uptown. You can reach me at Catherine, that's Catherine with a C, Catherine, at uptownwestchester.org. Definitely check out our website, uptownwestchester.org. All of our shows and programs are listed there, as well as you're able to sign up for our weekly newsletter. Every week we'll send you a newsletter about the latest happenings at Uptown. And we look forward to welcoming you. It's also a historic building. If you ever want to come and have a tour, just reach out. I'm happy to tell you the story of this armory in our community. It's a pretty neat history.
It is, it is. Well, Catherine, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
It was great
Thanks for
hearing
having
about
me, Ebbie.
Uptown and the impact the arts has on seniors. So thank you so much.
Yay. Wonderful.
And thank you for watching. I look forward to discussing another engaging senior topic next month.